The mics are hot, and so's the gossip. Let's get into it in 3.
Welcome to In 3. I'm Danielle Graham.
And I'm Callie.
And I'm really happy for you because some really big things happened.
It's been a big week.
It's been a huge week for you especially.
For me, for Kylie, and for Timothée Chalamet.
Yes.
I'm just like, I'm a third wheel in their love story.
Just love how much you love these two. They made it red carpet official.
They did.
Stepped out. We've seen them together, obviously, kissing and hugging and all of those things. But this was like the first official moment.
Yeah, we were hoping it might happen at the Met.
Yeah.
And then it didn't, but it happened the next day, which I found to be, I don't know, I felt like maybe they were just withholding. I also think that Kylie is like, as much as she's like so overexposed, she's a bit nervous. She's a little bit self-conscious, I think, and she's kind of shy in that way. So I think the Met might have been too much for her. I'm taking this so seriously.
I can't believe you think anything is too much for her and that she's shy and self.
But wait, did you see the footage of them at their red carpet debut?
Yeah, it was awkward.
It was awkward, but okay, so I forgot to send you the lip reading video of them together on their red carpet debut. But basically, like, she was like very timid and he had to like constantly be reassuring her, you're good, it's okay, you're good. It was so cute. Danielle, how can you not root for these two?
I know I am. And
you have to.
I don't want to do a show when they break up. I can't do that. I can't do that with you.
I don't know how you'll console me.
You'll be devastated.
No, I really love them. Sources say practically living together.
Wow.
So it's really heating up. Mm-hmm. I am really excited to see this relationship progress. Now that they're like all the way out there, I want to see him with her kids. I want to see him with the Kardashian clan. Like, now that is a catching up with the Kardashians that I will tune into.
I wonder why they decided to go official now. Like, it's been, 2 years, a year and a half. Like, what was that conversation? Hey, what do you think we do this thing now?
Yeah, this thing on this
choice.
Random day at this random, like, kind of non-important red carpet. I don't know. I mean, he was nominated for an Oscar last year, didn't do it there.
Right.
She's like front and center at the Met, didn't do it there. I don't know. It's kind of weird.
It is a weird choice.
I also feel like her sisters go so hard so fast with their love interests.
Fact.
And maybe Kylie's been looking around thinking, I'm going to take my time on this one.
A little slow burn. I have some other great news for you. I'm not sure if you saw this, but ASAP Rocky has said he wants to be the next Black James Bond.
Oh my God.
Right? Just the gifts for you this week are abundant.
That's so random.
Isn't it great though?
But
he said, why not?
I mean, the man can wear a suit. We know this.
Why not?
Yeah.
I agree.
And he can get the babes.
Yes.
So I'm down.
Shoot your shot, ASAP.
Shoot your shot. Yeah. Why not ASAP?
He said, why not? I'm like, I can't think of a reason why.
And I love that attitude. That's actually my new attitude for everything.
Yes.
Why not me? Why not us?
Why not us? Why not now?
Exactly.
I totally agree.
I co-sign.
Yes.
Hard co-sign for that one. The Cannes red carpet has become a huge topic of discussion this week.
Oh, right. Cannes kicks off.
Cannes kicks off today.
Aha.
Cannes is obviously like a big film festival. You've been there.
Yeah.
It's known for being somewhere where, you know, movies debut that end up really going the distance in award season, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like Anora was the big Palme d'Or award last year and then went on to win all the Oscars. But it's also a place where there's like a ton of crazy fashion.
Yeah.
It's like where people go to debut. It's like kind of like the Met, but without a theme.
Yes.
The theme is just extravagance,
yes.
over the top, sexy, glam.
Ooh. Bring it.
Everything.
Yes.
And out of the blue, literally days before the festival, Cannes festival people come out and say they've changed the fashion rules.
Again?
So, yes, a couple years ago, it was like about the shoes, right?
Yes.
It was
a couple
like,
years ago, women had to wear high heels, which, hello, patriarchy.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah.
Have you tried to walk in those things?
Enjoy.
And stand and walk up those stairs in those in a high heel?
All of that.
What? Why are we making women wear anything?
Gross.
Anyway.
But now they're saying that they're banning what they're calling naked dresses. And
Kylie?
any dress...
I'm looking at you.
Kylie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Kylie's got to find a new wardrobe. Anything like a naked dress or anything voluminous or with a large train. So I guess what happened was last year, first of all, nothing like a last minute change up for people that have probably been planning their outfits for literal months.
Great point. And also, what's the recourse here?
Right.
What are you going to do when someone shows up naked? Are you going to usher them out? If someone's in a big poofy ass dress, are you going to say you must leave?
I mean, they are French. Like they're kind of hardcore, I think.
I've been there and it was maybe the rudest place I've ever been
really?
in the world. Go ahead. Yeah.
Oh my God. No, wait. I need to hear all of that.
I love the French. Don't get me wrong.
Of course.
But
so last year, I guess there was this Dominican actress who had a very tense encounter on the stairs because she had a train so long with the face of Jesus. So that the train, extended 20, 30 feet behind her and had like the full portrait of Jesus on it. Mm-hmm. And when the people were, as you do, wine at Cannes, anything goes.
Choice.
And the security guards had like a tense encounter with her being like, you can't take up the entire red carpet. And they were disappointed and it caused like a ruckus. So now, days before the festival opens, they're changing the rules up on everyone to the point where Halle, who's a jury this year, and Halle Berry, who's there already, one of the first to arrive, just said that she had to like switch up all of her clothes because we know she's been wearing a lot of naked dresses lately.
As she should.
Absolutely.
Look at her.
Absolutely. She should never be clothed.
Never.
Absolutely.
I
never.
wouldn't be.
I would not be either.
Why would you?
I don't want her to be clothed at all.
Why?
And she said she had to really scramble.
Okay.
So bizarre.
A few things here.
Yeah, okay.
I've been to Cannes. I've seen people on the beach there. The most naked you could be. They are not a conservative society of
very
cover-upness.
Clothing optional.
Very clothing optional. Yeah. Very deep tans. Very exposed skin. That's the look.
Great.
Okay?
Yeah.
Also, the red carpet at Cannes is interesting because it's not a red carpet where journalists and reporters talk to celebrities. It is just a photo op and it's very well choreographed.
Right.
So when one person comes out down the red carpet, all the videographers and all the photographers get their moment and their shot and they go up the stairs and that's the same thing. It's not as though there isn't space for a gigantic dress.
Right.
And actually those stairs lend themselves to the drama of a big dress.
Exactly. Just like the Met. It's kind of like, kind of same, right?
Yeah.
This like sort of performance staircase. I don't know. It's
really weird.
Kind of a downer.
What do you do
Way
then?
to go.
I mean, if it were me, I'd be really spiteful and I just wear like a big old tarp.
Yeah. You're like Kim Kardashian with the full mask.
Yeah. What a disappointment.
Yeah, not great.
And also, where are the rules for the men?
Yeah, where are the men's rules?
Yeah, where are your rules?
I'd like to see those.
Yeah, me too.
But don't
also
show up looking like a bum.
Yeah.
I know that's your favorite word.
It's my favorite when you say bum.
We know Jennifer Lawrence is going to be there. Denzel
nice.
Washington, Benicio del Toro, Tom Hanks, Emma Stone, Austin Butler, and Tom Cruise, who we will be talking about later. His Mission Impossible movie is debuting at Cannes.
Yeah. And
they do that. They mix in some like kind of really serious artsy movies with some fun, dynamic, action movies and everything in between. So hopefully this won't put a total damper on the fest and we'll have some fun, juicy stuff to talk about next week.
I'm sure we will.
Yeah.
As for this week, let's line up the show. Okay, first things first, we're going to talk about Taylor. We know last week she was subpoenaed. Now there's more information. A statement has come out. From Taylor and Blake's camp, actually. Yep. Statements on both sides. And we have some of our amazing listeners are so passionate about this subject.
So passionate.
Have gone off. I'm so thankful for these go-offs because they're so good.
Yeah,
they're so good.
Fun.
Second story, we are going to talk about
Tom Brady.
Oh, we're going to talk about Tom Brady. That's right. Tom Brady, Gisele, the roast, jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
The new baby.
Totally. Got to talk about Tom and Gisele.
Well, there's so much there.
There's so much there.
From where they were to where they are is
100%.
Something. And then we are going to talk about P. Diddy. So the trial has commenced. Yeah. Some people have taken the stand. There's been some testimony. We know who's there. And we're going to get you as up to date as we can, considering where we are in where we record the show. Finally,
we have to talk about Tight Rig Tom. My favorite.
I love that's what you call Tom Cruise because he does have a tight rig.
And he is tighter and riggier than ever.
He is.
He really is.
He's working hard right now.
Mad respect.
Mad. He's out there working hard for this Mission Impossible movie.
Oh, he really is. Overtime, we'll get to that.
I cannot wait, actually, because he's just
too.
He's just a little bit outrageous and a little bit absurd, and I really love that about him.
And very narcissistic.
The most.
Which is the best combo.
It really is.
Yeah, the best combo.
What a gift.
Yeah.
Shall we get into Taylor?
Let's
start. So last week, we did learn she was subpoenaed, and then a statement came out.
Yeah.
And I mean, the statement I think was a big shocker because it's very rare for Taylor Swift to make a statement.
Right.
Now, not only is the statement itself a shocker, but what was in it was just...
It was
wowza.
just the gift that kept on. It was like the Russian dolls. Like inside the doll is another gift, is another gift, is another gift, and like laced with shade and like all of the drama that we really needed from her, but never really get.
That's right. Because again, she's almost like a royal. She doesn't complain, doesn't explain.
Totally.
Tight-lipped.
Yeah.
You wrote me in all caps, "Did you see Taylor's statement?" I was like, oh my God.
Jaw on the floor. Well, first of all, this is a classic move in PR that we've, that has been something that PR reps really use often with a big star like this, is to bury the statement or the story at like 5 p.m. on a Friday.
Right.
So that there are less headlines that come out of it because everyone's having their weekends.
Right. And magazines have been printed already, so the covers are done.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you were at the cottage and I'm at home, and I was like, my jaw hit the floor when I was like, this can't be an actual statement. And then I read it and I kept reading it and reading it over and over and over. And I was like, oh my God.
Shall I read it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do
so
it.
the statement from Taylor's
Dramatic
rep
reading.
says, Taylor Swift never set foot on the set of this movie. She was not involved in any casting or creative decisions. She did not score the film. She never saw an edit or made any notes on the film. She did not even see It Ends With Us until weeks after its public release, and was traveling around the globe during 2023 and 2024, headlining the biggest tour in history. The connection Taylor had to this film was permitting the use of one song, My Tears Ricochet. Given that her involvement was licensing a song for the film, which 19 other artists also did, this document subpoena is designed to use Taylor Swift's name to draw public interest by creating tabloid clickbait instead of focusing on the facts of the case. Wowza.
Saying the most.
I mean, the shadiest part was she didn't even see the movie until weeks after.
Right.
Because she was busy doing really important things.
The most important things in history.
Right.
Yeah. No, like there's so many things to get into with this statement, but we could start there with the most shade directed at Blake.
Yeah.
Basically, this all stems from Blake on the red carpet of all of her premieres and in every interview last year promoting her movie It Ends With Us, name dropping Taylor. Why?
Constantly.
Because she's not dumb. She knows that when she uses Taylor's name and mentions her in stories, that will make headlines, and headlines will create ticket sales and buzz. So Blake really is the culprit of all of this. Even before the Khaleesi moment, even before she referred to Taylor as her dragon in the text messages and really used Taylor as a bargaining chip in that whole thing behind the scenes. She was using Taylor as a promotional strategy. And so for this statement to say, she was not involved, she didn't make any creative decisions, that's directly talking about what Blake said about her, which was that she was there for the whole thing.
She helped cast Isabella.
She was making creative decisions with me.
She was there with the rewrite of the rooftop scene.
Yeah.
It was dispelling all of what Blake has said, not just once, multiple times.
So as much as I've been on Blake's team in some of these regards, I cannot support her or defend her in this case. Like, she did leverage Taylor's name for her own benefit. And in my opinion, Blake could have, when that dragon text came out and it was very obvious that, that attention was pointing towards Taylor, Blake should have come out and said, hey, I know that I mentioned my friend. I want to make it clear that she really had nothing to do with the decision making. I think that Blake could have really avoided a lot of this drama with Taylor if she had just come out and done the right thing early on. And mitigated it. But now she's brought so much heat that she's forced Taylor's camp to make these crazy statements about never having set foot, never having anything to do with it, not even having seen it, which is so beautifully shady.
It was so shady.
It's amazing.
And it was, I mean, every word of that statement was so intentional. Like that went through drafts, rewrites, approvals, eyeballs, and that part stayed for a reason.
Yes.
Because it was designed to be like, no.
And it's very much giving every man for themselves. There is no softness about that relationship with Blake. And it's very, very clear to me with this statement that they are no longer friends.
Yeah. There was no protecting Blake in this.
No.
And I think for the longest time, everyone was waiting for Taylor to say something as this lawsuit kind of unraveled at the beginning of the year. And she has said nothing until this point. And this is the one thing she has said. And I think it says everything. But then Blake releases a statement and hers is odd, but again, name drops Taylor Swift in her statement.
Right. And also doesn't clear her of anything. Like she has so many opportunities. Blake is just like, she's so messy and she's just constantly making the wrong choices.
She is. So she says, this is a very serious legal matter, not Barnum and Bailey's circus. Shout out Barnum and Bailey's. Odd.
Random.
The defendants continue to publicly intimidate, bully, shame, and attack women's rights and reputations. They've now subpoenaed Taylor Swift, a woman who's given a voice to millions all over the world. And it's a stunt to draw away from, the actual facts of the case. But why are you name dropping your friend
Irrelevant.
again?
Stop talking about her.
But if we now could read Taylor's statement and say she really wants nothing to do with this, why are you saying her name again? And did she think this was going to help? Did she think this was going to be like, Taylor, look, I'm really trying here to get everybody off your back by saying your name again?
She's not trying at all.
I know,
it's so crazy. Let's play a couple of these couple of these notes from our listeners.
I love this.
Let me play the first one. This is a hot take. It's a little bit off the path of where we are right now, but it's just so fun. And I just love how heated everybody gets. So let's listen to this. Is from Jess, one of our listeners. Shout out, Jess.
Hey, girl.
She's got some thoughts. Let's hear it.
I love Travis Kelce. Is that his name? Kelce. And his loyalty to his girlfriend. Like, I'm sorry, but a block delete. Anyone who screws with any of my friends, like, you're a block delete. Like, I'll see you on the street. I don't even know you. So I'm totally here for Travis Kelce unfollowing Ryan Reynolds. I'm here for that. I love it. I want to see it. Unfollow. Who cares what people are doing in their lives if they're losers? No. Block delete. I love this for him.
I love this for all of us. I love that. I love that
you block
for all of us.
I love that degree of loyalty. You block delete.
And that's what he did. And it honestly, now that it's all really unfolding and we're seeing more of it, it really does make sense why he did that. And we'll get to Travis, I'm sure, in a bit, because they were spotted for the first time conveniently in a while.
Would you look at that? And then he was also spotted going into her New York apartment, I think it was yesterday, with security. So she's there.
A United friend.
Yeah. So now the block and delete all makes sense.
Yes.
Because of the statement and now everything that's happening after the fact. So
yeah, exactly.
Wowza.
Okay, this is from Amy. Let's play this one.
Taylor is kind of like Fight Club. If you talk about it outside the circle, you're going to get beat up. And while personally, I believe the things that Blake is saying about this whole lawsuit, bringing Taylor into this, which wasn't her intention, Blake, I know. But even just using her and this dragons thing, whatever, it's outside the circle. So Blake is going to get beat up now, no matter what happens. But I do think down the line, much like Katy Perry, they will probably come back together. But right now, Taylor has cut her off. And, because those are the rules. Those are the Taylor Fight Club rules.
Well, interesting. Taylor is the godmother to 3 of Blake's children.
Yeah.
I don't have godparents, but I know that you are a godmother and you have a godmother. That's really sad.
Well, listen, that role is, God forbid anything happens to me, you take these children. That is really the symbolism of a godparent. And it speaks to closeness and like a family kind of feel.
Right.
So that is a very difficult thing to have to sever from the children as well. If in fact this friendship is iced, which I really do think it is. I don't think we have any reason to think it isn't. And then, back to Taylor and what Amy said there about not talking. Taylor doesn't really say a lot. Her focus is preserving her narrative, controlling her narrative, keeping the focus on her music and her art, and that's it. She doesn't really speak out on a lot of things, and she's been criticized for that in the past as well, for being quiet on issues people thought she should have been vocal on. So the fact that she has said anything says everything.
I agree. And I think just to Amy's point as well, I do think that being friends with Taylor and knowing how she really lives her life and conducts her business, there is a certain amount of sort of discretion that you have to use as her friend. And if you were as close as making her the godmother of 3 of your children, like you should know anybody that bringing up her name and dragging her name into anything, including press, including any of this, is really tricky territory. And Amy's right. She got burned. It's the Taylor Fight Club rules. I totally agree with that.
Yeah, she did get burned, didn't she?
I don't think that there's a way back, but I do think it's really sad. Okay, we have one more. This is from Sabrina. And I also love this. This is a very hot take.
Hey, Sabrina.
Are you ready for this?
Unpopular opinion here. Low-key bully. Look at her songs to see how she trots everybody out and hangs them out to dry. And high-key, not the greatest friend. Not a fan of how she just kind of throws people to the side when it doesn't play well with her image, narrative, etc.
Okay, so that is a totally different take where she's saying, maybe Taylor's not the best friend for letting Blake hang out to dry, being involved in this mess and really like throwing her under the bus completely with this statement.
Well, listen, I don't think you abandon friends in their deepest need, in their lowest points. I have been there. I have been the abandoned friend in times when things weren't great. It's a terrible place to be. I don't think that's what this is, though. I think this is much more layered, and I think there's a lot more at stake, and there's to be exposed in the way she's been, if in fact they're going to go through her text messages. I mean, that really is so far out of the scope of what's acceptable in terms of friendship. With if her text messages are going to be out there for public consumption, and already this narrative of her being a dragon as somebody who's worked really hard to rehab her image and come back and grow to be this successful touring artist, like
I guess I'm just thinking, like, if it was you and me, and we're as close as we are, and we've been friends for as long as we have, and our families are intertwined the way that they are, and something happened, and like, couldn't we just figure it out together? Like, hey, here's the strategy as a team. Like, obviously this isn't ideal. I fucked up. Okay. Like, I'm Blake. I fucked up. I shouldn't have done this. I love you. I want to make it right. How can we bring our teams together and make this as smooth and as with as least amount of mess as possible? But stay a unit. I think they would be so much more powerful together. And if there's nothing to hide, then yes, of course, it's so gross and violating to have to release your text messages and all of that. And obviously it exposes her in a way that she would never, ever want to be exposed. But like, I do think, and I have a harder time creating boundaries, and I'm working on it. So maybe this is just the pushover me, or the abandonment issue, traumatic part of me. That's like, can we just figure it out together and stay friends? Like, I wish that for them. And I do think that if there's nothing to hide on Taylor's part, it's annoying, and there's administrative mess and there's press mess, but like, you guys are family to the point of godparents. If they just could come together and figure it out together, I think that it would be more powerful.
You're right. And it would also speak to sisterhood.
It would. Yeah. And I mean, not that I totally agree with the voice note from our listener, but I mean, Taylor, if you Google like Taylor friendship breakups, it's a long list. It's a long list. I don't know the details of all of them.
Right.
And, life is long and things happen, and we're in different chapters and eras and things change. But there isn't not a pattern.
Maybe I see what you're saying. Maybe she's got to the point where she's been burned so many times where it's like even the hint of a smoke, not even a fire, she's like, I gotta cut and run.
Yeah.
Because I've been burned too many times and
Totally.
I've been hurt too many times and I've been exposed too many times. I'm
Yeah.
not doing this again. And if that's a boundary she's created for herself, we have to respect that. I
Totally.
do think because they would have, I mean, I don't think Blake's team is overly strategic, smart, or calculating. Doesn't
Clearly
look
not.
like it.
No.
But Taylor's would. And they probably thought of all the angles. We could try this unified front. We could try this. And this was like the best thing. Because maybe it's worse than we think is what I'm wondering.
Maybe
it's way,
Yeah.
way, way worse than we know.
And I'm just playing devil's advocate.
Of course.
Because I think it's an interesting side of the coin that we haven't really explored yet. Whatever it is, I'm here to watch it all unfold.
Same.
And loving that Travis is on the red carpet doing his thing.
He's out there.
with his long hair.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
He looks like a guy without a care in the world.
He really does.
He's out there with his brother looking.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great. Happy. Fine. Like nothing's bothering him.
I just don't love his style, but whatever.
I mean,
He's a good boyfriend.
Yeah. No, his style is whatever.
Yeah.
But I
his
mean,
style's whack.
It is a
But
little
so
bit.
is hers.
Well, then it
Well, there you
works.
go.
Then it works.
Compatible.
But it confirms they're still together because there were some reports or speculation that maybe they weren't, and it looks as though they are, and they are a unified front.
Yeah, and them being out together after the unfollow and like in the wake of this statement is just them really making sure that we know that they're a unit. They're
right.
not going anywhere. This is just like doubling, tripling down on we're together. Get used to it.
And this isn't going anywhere. This trial is set for next year,
Yeah.
like March next year. There's a lot to happen between now and then, including Justin's lawyer has threatened to want to broadcast Blake's deposition at Madison Square Garden.
He is the trolliest troll
Of all trolls.
Like if he could write a master class of trolling. It's savage.
It is.
He is absolutely savage. But you know what? It's he's doing his thing. And Justin Baldoni made his first sort of public-ish appearance for a Mother's Day post.
Yes.
In like a very long time.
Yeah, he's been really quiet too.
Which I think, you know, as we've spoken about with like Meghan and Harry and with Blake and Ryan, like taking a beat, like I almost forgot that I don't like him.
Right.
Which is kind of the point. So he's doing his thing.
Right. And I
And
guess
then his lawyer can just be the bully.
you should take those beats because things are going to get kicked up again
Yeah.
anyway. So while
There's
when
time.
when you can be quiet, just shut up.
Play the long game.
Really though.
Yeah.
Just
I agree.
yeah, keep it tight.
And everybody loves it when you celebrate your mother.
Yeah.
Everybody loves it. Celebrate your mother, celebrate your wife. They can't lose. And that's the playbook that Tom Brady used this week.
He did.
He celebrated all of his baby mamas.
He sure did. The one, yeah, I mean, Bridget Moynihan, who he cheated on with Gisele Bundchen.
Right.
They both got a nice Mother's Day shout out.
Yeah.
What a good guy.
Right. Totally.
Please. Tom Brady telling on himself all over the place.
Totally. Well, it's been a year since his big roast. You know who has that roast to thank for their entire career? Nikki Glaser.
Oh my God.
Like, look where she is now. compared
Right.
to it. That was like her first big moment. And now she's like running the world.
Yep.
But I digress. So it's been a year since that roast. And now there's like some details coming out and some little breadcrumbs about how it was received by Tom's family.
Yeah.
And also how much he was paid. Did you know that he was paid $25 million?
Not until you told me that. I was shocked. Okay, so the roast happens. There is some outrage at the roast after the fact. So
Right.
let's just go back to that
Okay.
1 year ago. There's outrage. People are like, what the hell was that?
Right. Why?
Tom Brady comes out and says, I just want to be sure I understand the outrage. Netflix offered to pay me $25 million to attend an event where comedians ripped my ex-wife for cheating on me with her jiu-jitsu instructor. And people are wondering why I allowed that. Give any divorced dad on earth the same option and get back to me on that. That's how he felt a year ago. Right?
Okay, James and I were talking about this and he was like, did you see what Tom said about the roast? And he said it back to me in those exact words, like from his brain. And I was like, there's no way he said that. There's no way Tom Brady said it like that. And he was like, I think he did. And I was like, no, he didn't. And I was, doing the thing I do.
Right.
I'm like, shut
Nah.
up. You don't know anything.
You don't know anything. You don't have a podcast on entertainment
Yeah.
news.
Do you have a podcast? Okay. I am an expert. No, he literally said that.
Uh-huh.
That's so crazy.
It is so crazy. So that is him telling on himself.
Yeah.
He did this out of spite and anger and revenge and ego.
Yeah.
That was the whole point of this, was to take her down, which it did. So he gets $25 million to sit there and have people roast his ex-wife. She takes strays the entire time, not even strays, like direct hits.
Yeah.
And makes $0.00.
Right.
And then has to pick up the pieces of her family and the devastation of that roast, which he now is saying a year later.
Oops.
Yeah, that was a parenting mess up. I didn't really,
decision.
In hindsight, I didn't really think that through. And I didn't think of how that could affect the kids.
No, he was just being a dumb boy.
You're an idiot.
Total idiot moves.
Yeah. Well, how did you think they weren't going to be affected by this?
Like the mother of your children.
Yes.
Before she was like shacking up with her jujitsu instructor, which honestly, enjoy.
Yeah.
She sacrificed so much for that marriage, for that man. She waited for him to retire.
So she could go back to work.
And so they could enjoy their life together.
Yes.
And that's so he could be present. And what does he do? He's retired for 6 seconds and goes back to work without a care in the world. And then she was like, I'm out.
I'm not doing this anymore.
I told you already. I'm out. And that's when she left him. And according to her, she took a lot of time in between those relationships. Her jiu-jitsu instructor was just a friend, allegedly. You know, he's Brazilian. She was training with him. They have a lot in common. And then it, according to her, became more later. She was unhappy in her marriage with Tom. Really a lot of what she was looking for is what Joaquin is giving her, like a real normie life.
Yep.
She talks a lot about being just grateful for being able to be present in the life together, being really hands-on. And I think that's what he brings to the table. And it's like, you know, being married to Tom Brady isn't all it's cracked up to be.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah. And now Gisele is a new mom again.
Yeah.
She's got a baby, a little baby boy. She debuted just his bum and his little back of his little head on Mother's Day, which is, you know, so beautiful.
And all the kids with their heads together with Joaquin in there. So obviously, you know, putting the image of a united family to the public, and I love that for her.
It really does show you a lot about Tom Brady and who he is, because when he gave that statement about the reason for doing the roast, it wasn't about him needing to have some humble pie, or it's good for me to reflect, or it's you know, I've been the GOAT for the longest time.
Yeah.
It was literally about her and wanting to destroy and hurt her. It's a guy who's been at the top of the game, winning, yes person, greatest of all time, and guess what? You lost.
Yeah.
And he's acting like a sore loser.
He really
That's
is.
what this really was.
You're right. Bad sportsmanship.
Bad sportsmanship. Flag on the play.
Yeah. All of that.
I don't even know if that's a real
no,
thing.
that's perfect.
One of the reasons I was like icked out about Tom Brady. Do you remember when his diet, his new
set of teeth?
Not for me. He's too perfect looking.
Oh yeah.
For me. That's not my thing.
No.
When his diet came out. Do you remember this? The man doesn't eat a tomato.
No, like a tomato and a strawberry. Although they are very high in histamine.
Right.
I do understand.
You do. But you understand that from a different lens. Like, that's different.
Totally.
His was just ridiculous.
Just absolutely like just controlled narcissism.
How fun would that be to live with that guy?
No.
Zero fun. Now Giselle's out there with this new great guy, living free, eating all the tomatoes she could possibly want.
All of that.
As we mentioned off the top of the show, the Diddy trial has begun, and we're going to talk about it with a trigger warning right off the start here.
Absolutely.
Because there are a lot of allegations of abuse and violence, and pretty horrific details are coming out. We're not going to share all of those, but if any of these things are very personal or affect you deeply, this is not the segment to listen to.
Yeah. Tune out.
Yeah.
So this is day 2 of the trial that we know is going to go on for at least 8 weeks. Mm-hmm. So really, you know, a small amount of information at the time of this recording. But what we do know is that on Monday of this week, they selected their final jury, and both sides had their opening statements. And in those opening statements, it really sets the stage for, like, you know, how each side is going to operate and mm-hmm. sort of like what they're trying to drive home and what their sort of arguments are going to be. The defense, their main thing is they're saying, like, we're not trying to defend him by saying he's not an abuser. We're not even trying to defend him by saying he's not like a toxic human who's done a lot of really bad things.
Yeah.
They're just trying to say that he hasn't done what they're accusing him of, which is the trafficking and the racketeering,
Right.
etc.
They're saying it was consensual. Yes, he's violent. Yes, he's a drug user, they said. Yes, he loves baby oil. They made reference to that.
Right.
But that's not a federal crime. And everything that took place was consensual is their stance.
Right.
The prosecution has said that Diddy led a criminal empire through Bad Boy Records, and through that had other people doing his dirty work to coerce women to have his sexual desires met.
Yeah.
And then on day one, there were some male sex workers that took the stand and shared some of their accounts of what took place and the things that they were forced to do and the video recordings coming from that.
And then with Cassie, you know, she has taken the stand. She is very pregnant. It's just horrific to think of her on the stand in any condition, but especially in the condition that she's in with the baby on the way imminently. But she talks a lot about how she felt very threatened all the time. She never knew when he would sort of like lose his cool and beat her. She didn't know what he was going to do with the tapes that he had of her. So it wasn't necessarily that it was explicitly like, you have to do this or else, but it was implied with this sort of threatening layer that hovered over everything that they did together. And remember that she was 21 when they first got together, like an actual baby. Yeah. So, you know, there's this man with so much power over your career, with so much power in general, who's demanding that you do these things to make him quote unquote happy. And she really didn't feel, according to her, that she had a choice.
I have no doubt she was afraid for her life.
Every day.
Yeah. Every day. And the fact that she is going to take the stand for what could be days and to have so much of what took place exposed, to live through that again. Her husband's also in the courtroom.
Yeah.
The bravery it takes for her to go through this.
And really, we wouldn't be here at all in this Diddy trial without her coming forward.
That's right.
And launching that big lawsuit that she did last year. That was really what set off the feds in general and what led us to this place. So she's really to thank for hopefully the justice that will be served for all of these women. There are some extremely graphic details that have come out in some of these testimonies about what she endured. I think, you know, her husband is there and the father of her children. But the defense this morning came out and said, well, he might not be able to stay for her whole testimony because we might need to take him on the stand at some point, which I feel is just another coercion tactic, a manipulation tactic to make him not available to her. It's just gross. It's all very, very gross. But obviously, you know, it's the biggest story in the world.
It is.
We are going to be following it. We have to talk about it.
We do. And she did share today a little bit about the freak offs and that they could go on for upwards of 2-3 days, the amount of recovery it took after the fact to even just to feel normal again. And all of that is going to be really picked apart. And she's going to have to answer some really difficult questions, I'm sure, and have to go back to that really awful dark time. I just feel sick for her. It's awful.
It is awful.
Diddy's family is there. 6 of his kids are there. His mom is there. He was seen giving them like a heart symbol of love when he arrived at court. The fact that they're all going to listen to this as well is just...
Yeah, well, his daughters are 18. He has 3 daughters who are 18. And they were in the courtroom for most of the testimony on the first day and then had to leave, which makes a lot of sense. They're talking about some really graphic, you know, really violating details about their father. The fact that they were even in there in the first place is a choice. I think obviously, again, it's a manipulation tactic on his team's part to be like, look, he's a family man. Look at how much his kids love him. Again, a united family front and kind of using that as leverage.
Let's use those kids and traumatize them.
Like they're not traumatized
to support our narrative.
enough.
Exactly.
Can you
so
imagine?
did they opt to leave court?
I think they did. I think the girls in the middle of the testimony
Smart.
from the sex worker yesterday, sounds like they opted to leave. But they were back again today. And I think you mentioned that he had a Bible with him today.
Yeah, he came in with reading the Bible today in court.
Because you're just a man of God.
Right.
Yeah.
As you said, this is a huge story. It is one that we're trying to cover with as much respect to the alleged victims as we can and without sharing some of the most awful details of it. So now we do have to talk about tight rig Tommy.
Tight rig Tommy Cruise.
Do you want to share what a tight rig is? Do we need to share that? It is.
Is there? Do you have a Webster's
No,
definition of
let me
it?
just come up with like our own definition. It's when you just you've got you're like how we're both doing this with our hands.
Muscle packed into
a very
small
body. Yeah, you're just a tight rig.
Yeah. Tom Cruise is back for the 8th and final installment of Mission Impossible, The Final Reckoning. His first Mission Impossible was in 96 when he was 34.
Wowza.
Okay. This is the 8th installment and he's 62. And
that's wild.
I mean, physically looks better than ever.
He does look really good.
He obviously, we know we've been talking about how he does all of his own stunts and how impressive that is. It really is insanely impressive, just like the ethic that goes into that, the work ethic. And a lot of people are making a lot to do about his body right now because like at 62, it's just like beyond.
But also let's objectify him. We do it to women all the time.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Tight rig Tommy looking good. It's a little tight for me, but I'm happy for him. He has been describing his body to like how he sees a car with a mechanic with a car. Like he's just very militant about it. He treats his body like a machine. Like you do what you have to do because it has to get done. And that's how he ends up with this body that can perform like this in these types of stunts.
Well, how do I treat my body then? If this is a machine?
Let's
I don't know.
Let's ask the question.
I mean, I'm not treating my body like a machine. It's more like whatever its whim is every hour.
Yeah.
It's just, you want a Diet Pepsi? Go for it. You want to lay down
Always
for 10
Diet
minutes?
Pepsi.
Absolutely, yes.
You
feel like doing a heavy lift today? Go for it.
Grace and care and comfort.
Yes, we're ebbing and flowing. I'm not treating it like I'm not for regular tune-ups. I'm not doing that.
But I do appreciate it. And honestly, when you're being paid the kind of money that he is to do what he does, it is your full-time job to be tight rig Tommy. So you better tighten that rig.
Listen, you know who likes the rig, it looks like, is Ana de Armas.
She really does.
Okay, so they can't lie anymore and say, oh, this is just
a business meeting in a helicopter for the 5th time.
Right. Yeah. They were spotted at David Beckham's birthday party.
Yeah.
They went in separately, left together. She also was taken in his helicopter, again with this helicopter.
I'm telling you, this is how he wooed her because she's big on the stunts too. And you know that she's a big fan of his stunts.
Yes.
And I think he's like, oh yeah, baby.
Yeah, she got a private.
Break out the helicopter.
You want to ride?
Listen.
She also has an action movie coming out. So Mission Impossible, The Final Reckoning comes out May 23rd. She's in the new John Wick movie called Ballerina, which comes out a couple of weeks later, like at the top of June. So they both have got these like summer blockbusters coming out.
I didn't know she was in the John Wick movie.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
She is booked and busy She's
booked and busy.
Yeah, she really is.
Yeah.
I love how Tom, he really goes underground when he's not in the press or has anything to promote. But now he's like, he has the playbook laid out for how to promote this movie, right? He's got the romance. He's busting out all of his famous celebrity friends, like the Beckhams, right? Like he hasn't been seen with the Beckhams since like 2007 when he was with Katie Holmes. Now all of a sudden they're besties again. He's doing stunts on top of theaters in the UK.
Yes.
He's even talking about Nicole Kidman. There was a quote about her, which like he has not spoken about her pretty much since they divorced.
Not at all.
And he actually mentioned her in a recent interview, like nothing too juicy, but just the fact that he's like, literally it's the playbook.
But it's enough to make a headline to end up in my feed to remind me that Mission Impossible is coming out.
Correct.
So he is doing the work overtime.
Yeah.
And I mean, this movie is right now, I think they said the budget's at almost $400 million.
Wow.
It's one of the most expensive movies ever made.
Wow.
So listen, He's out there doing what
gotta
actors
do
are
the
supposed
work.
to do in support of their films.
Oh,
when
you
they're
mean they
coming
shouldn't
out.
like bash their own movie
No.
and talk about how stupid the storyline is?
No.
How much they hate everybody.
Pay attention, Rachel Ziegler.
Right.
This is how we do
This
it.
is the playbook.
And he's out there working really hard.
He
and he
is.
will be at Cannes to debut it, as you said at the top
Yeah.
of the show next week. So he's doing everything he can to make sure that this last, I don't know, is it ever going to be the last? Who knows?
Right. It's like Tom Brady in his career. It's never
Is it the
over.
end? It's like
never
Cher's
really
last
over.
tour. Is it though?
Is it?
He's out there to make sure that this
Yeah.
movie makes money.
And he's been really big, a really big part of the sort of gospel to help remind people that going to theaters is really important to the film industry, and he's always trying to get butts in seats in the theaters, and you know, he's putting his money where his mouth is, or his mouth where his money is, or whichever, both. And
his money where his helicopter is.
He's putting the helicopter everywhere where everyone can see it. I mean, the thing about Tom as well is like he's such a movie star, and they just don't quite make him like that anymore, you know, or maybe that's just the oldie nostalgic millennial of me to feel that way. But I just feel like no matter what about Tom, right, with all of his, you know, there's some questionable things in there with the Scientology and Katie Holmes and all of that stuff, but like I just love him. He's just so charming and charismatic, and like he wins me over. He's like, he's doing his job and he's doing it well.
But he's also, I don't find him, I don't know. Yes, he's charming. I've met him. He's 100% charming.
Yeah.
But he's also absurd and outrageous, which is why I love him.
Right.
Because he's just a little bit of crazy.
Yeah.
And
Oh, yeah.
I really, really like that part of him. And I find him really interesting for that.
Yeah.
For those reasons.
Agreed.
So I'm excited to see him carry on this tour.
Are you going to watch this
Listen,
movie?
I was going to ask you that. So I asked Randall, this is the second half of the final installment.
Oh.
And the first one was so long ago. And I really hate when they do that, because then I really need to catch up before I catch
now
the
you have to
second
watch it
part.
again, and it's like
But
a
I
big
figured we
commitment.
should all go. Maybe we should all go and make
Okay.
it a whole big date.
Sure.
Yeah, you don't want to? No?
Okay.
Okay. I thought
I'll do it.
Or we just send the husbands. That also works just fine for me.
that
also
too.
is,
I mean, I'll do it. This movie is 3 hours long.
I'm out. I changed my mind.
That's long, but the boys should go and enjoy.
I can't be anywhere for 3 hours.
Literally, like it's just too long, and like in the theater, and then you can't be multitasking. Like I'm almost down to have it on in the background and like be also, you know, doing other things.
That's Tom Cruise's worst nightmare. If you say you're going to watch this on the treadmill, that is egregious.
Wait, that's the biggest compliment.
It is egregious.
If you get space in my treadmill time, that is honestly the highest compliment.
How big
I
is
can
the
give.
TV in front of the treadmill?
It's like it's not big enough,
Let's work on that.
but it's like a decent size.
Okay, I thought you were going to be like airplane screen. Tom Cruise would die if you're watching Mission Impossible on this.
No,
tiny little
it's
thing.
like a normal
It's a normal
size
size
like
TV.
TV, but it's never big enough, and honestly can never have too much content. So
Okay.
maybe that will go into this rotation.
You
But
know
we
what?
should have a girls' night while the boys go.
Yeah, I don't need to go to any 3 hour movie. I did that with
It's just too
Oppenheimer,
much.
and that's the last
You
time
went to the theater for Oppenheimer?
It's because I convinced Randall I wanted to see Oppenheimer, but really I was coming out of this like got a babysitter and everything.
Wow.
And babysitters are expensive, and they're by the
You
hour.
don't-
So
like that's
yeah. So
you really wanted that.
But I convinced Randall I wanted to see Oppenheimer, but really I'd just come out of watching Peaky Blinders, and I was obsessed with Cillian Murphy.
right.
And I
of
just needed a bit
course.
of a fix.
Your Killian obsession.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it was more, I was looking for Tommy Shelby,
Right.
and I got
Well,
Oppenheimer. But
If this had Tom Hardy in it, I'd be like, we would
6
be
hours.
there.
I'd go right now.
Front row.
gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like would be no question.
I agree.
But
Also
Tom
in Peaky
Cruise-
Blinders.
Right.
Yeah, it's a perfect
both
show.
Both their babes. And
What
I
more could I
interviewed them
want?
both for Inception. They were in Inception together, and I interviewed them both. And that's when my Tom Hardy crush and like love affair began.
I mean, how could it not?
I actually didn't know who he was going into that interview.
And then you died when you walked in.
And then I was like, of course I was excited to interview Leo.
Right.
Cause like,
Leo.
obviously.
Yeah, you think he's the get until you see Tom Hardy.
I was like, wait, what? Who,
I'm very
who, what,
destabilized.
when, where, why, how, and like, my legs are numb.
And there's no way that nobody picked up on that either.
Do you think? Well, I'm sure it was like everybody, but at the time he had a ponytail and just like he's just like
I know.
perfectly British and dry and funny and
just
flirtatious
and rough around the edges. Just
a wee bit flirtatious.
I know.
Even when the cameras weren't rolling.
What happened?
No, he was just a little flirtatious.
Like what?
Well, we were wrapping up and they were taking a break from the junket interviews. So I was like last before a break and he was like, I'm going to go for a smoke. You want to come? And he pointed at me.
And you started smoking then at that moment. You're
no,
like, I smoke.
Didn't go. I had to go into another interview.
Oh,
I'm a smoker now.
Yeah, full time.
In a sliding door. I mean, it could be Tom Hardy living next door.
Oh my God. In a sliding door moment, you had that cigarette. But you know what? You're a professional and you said I have to go back and do my job and I can't smoke with you, Tom Hardy. Tom Brady, Tom Hardy, Tom Cruise. There's no way Tom Brady's ever had a cigarette.
Literally never had an ounce of fun in his life.
Never. The man won't eat a tomato. You think he's going to have a cigarette? Oh boy.
This was fun.
This was really fun. Remember, get at us with your hot takes. Go off. Send us those DMs. We love hearing from you. And then you can hear them in the show. That was so fun.
It's so fun. We love to have your takes integrated into our conversation. It's such a fun element for us just to have you guys be a part of it. So keep them coming. We love you. Have a great week. Bye. Bye. Mwah.